All right, so today I'm actually going to talk about a toy called Vacuglide. This, which deceivingly looks just like a regular backpack, this actually holds a fancy little sex toy. I'm not a huge sex toy person to begin with, mostly just because I love using my hands. I'm a very tactile person, so I like that intimacy of using my hands for edging. Not that I don't use toys ever, it's just that I tend to always default to my hands because I like them so much. But they sent us this toy to try out, and it's actually pretty interesting. So inside the backpack, here is the Vacuglide. Here is the toy. So this beastie part is what holds all of the components to make it work. On one end you have the part where you would plug in the vacuum hose or on the vacuum hose. The other end is where you would turn the machine on and plug in the power cord. This is the start-stop function of the toy. These are the speed buttons, how fast or slow you want the gliding to go. And then for the stroking buttons, this lets air in or out, which kind of adjusts how the toy sits on the body. Power cord. Was this our lube, or did this come with
that one was ours, yeah.
That was our lube.
One thing we should note is that coconut oil does not work well with it.
Yeah.
Because coconut oil is pretty grippy lube. It lasts a long time, which is why you like to use it.
Yeah. For my hands, but for toys, you probably want to get a standard toy lube.
It needs something very slippery. Yeah.
So this end is the end that actually fits onto the male cock. The male.
How do you make
appendage.
this safe for work? I think cock is fine, but yeah, we'll have to check the YouTube terms of service.
So this end is the end that fits onto the male eggplant. Inside here are just different sizes of sleeves. So depending on your size, you can go smaller or larger. This is kind of the standard medium size. That will probably fit most, but again, you have other options depending on your size. This part will snap on depending on any sleeve you choose, but it'll snap on, and this is what essentially allows the suction thing.
That just lets air escape.
Yeah. But this is how that would work. If you don't have this, this will not work with the toy. So this is essential. There is also a way to adjust the toy so it can actually fit you perfectly, depending even on how the sleeves fit you, for how the suction function works for the pistons inside. And so I'm going to actually let my pet take over and talk about that part.
Let's plug it in here. Turn it on. See it powering up. First thing we would do to set it, you need this. They have an Allen wrench. The hinge rotates in a circle, and so you can't adjust it until it's in the right spot. So I'm going to turn the speed down and try to stop it right there. So now I can adjust this. You loosen this. No more than 2 turns, they say, but even just like half a turn is enough. Then from here, you can move the piston to wherever you need it to be, and then you tighten it down. And you don't have to tighten it real tight. Just give it a bit of a twist. Doesn't need much, but then the length is set where you need it to be set. And if you got a longer stroke, you can go longer, go shorter. This is the trickiest part of the whole device, is making sure you get it right.
Because if it's not set right, it won't stay on, right?
This will pop off But like I say, you just kind of fiddle around with it a little bit, and then eventually you get it dialed in.
Turn it back on again. I just want to mention how quiet this machine was. How big it is, I was amazed at how quiet it is.
Yeah, like this is it running right now. We're talking, even if I whisper really quiet, you still can't hear the machine.
Because so many people, I think, can empathize with the fact that you want to use a toy, but it's noisy and you have to be quiet for whatever reason. This one is really quiet.
Surgical silicone collects lint, so you have to wash this like every time you use it pretty much. But that's just the cost of using surgical silicone. So there it's on. Then for this side, you literally just push that over the end. You get that air locking cap. And you're in business.
Yeah, so that movement is actually what makes it glide back and forth.
It sucks in
Yeah,
on
it sucks in and out, but that movement is what makes it move up and down.
And if we taking air out and then you add air in, you can actually change how the stroke feels really, really easily, and you can get it adjusted. If you feel it starting to get close to where it's just going to come off, you push this button once or twice and it moves further down. If it's down too far and it's not moving up and down enough, then you push the other button and you get it adjusted just right. And that's as simple as it is.
So back to the toy itself.
Here, I'll let you go sit down again.
This was actually a lot of fun to play with. Again, even though it's quite far removed from my hands, it did a really great job of doing what I wanted it to do and replicating what my hands could do in a very fun, edgy way. It's very responsive, so I could edge him very easily by getting him to where I wanted him and stop it. Sometimes toys will not be that responsive, or they will keep on going even after you tell it to stop, but this was immediate. So it was really, really great for the edging aspect. In terms of how well it slid up and down, I was actually super impressed with it. It was very smooth, it wasn't very janky or anything like that. It was pretty...
The part that surprised me the most is when you have something that's really lubricated, oftentimes you just can't even feel it. It just feels too slippery to give you any sensation. I don't know if it's the ripples or the kind of material they use, but it's 100% noticeable. It's probably one of the best in-between sensations of not being overstimulating and not being understimulating.
You can obviously affect that too with how fast you have it stroke, or how also you can adjust how high it goes up and down too, right? So you can make it do really short little pulses, or you can do long strokes, depending again on the adjustments there and the stroking setting you set there. So yeah, I was super impressed with this toy. I don't have a penis, but my pet can say whether or not he enjoyed it, which I'm pretty sure he did.
Well, yeah, from the videos, it did its job. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then it is stimulating enough that after, for the post torment, it really does overstimulate at that point too.
Yeah.
So if that's part of your fun, then yeah, it works really, really well for that.
So yeah, it's a bit of a beast, but worth it in my books for toys that are probably going to be worth their salt. The quality is there. It's quiet, like I said, it works really well. It feels really good, according to my pet. It's a lot of fun to play with.
It reminds me of an Apple device, how well it's built.
Yeah.
The other thing too, the only complaint we've heard online is that people wish there was a remote to be able to operate it so you didn't have to have the machine beside you. Mm-hmm. But never once have we had a problem with the size of it sitting on the bed or wherever we're at. It just works fine.
The only thing I would love to have is a remote ability to play with this long distance, but...
subs and stuff.
Yeah.
I have taken this all apart, and it's phenomenal how solid it's built. It has a huge C channel that the big piston sits in. The piston is extremely large, takes up probably 2/3 of the space inside, and the electronics are all heavy duty, well built. Overall, it's just a really impressive device.
Yeah, and in terms of tips for getting it to fit right, I would say the biggest tip I can give is just there's no rush. It's going to take a little bit of time maybe to get the fitting just right, but who cares? This is about having fun, so just have fun while you find that perfect adjustment for you. And even after you find it, you might realize that you have to still adjust it even after that. It's not a race, just have fun while you're fitting it. And
Well, and we have adjusted it longer and shorter just
Yeah,
to play around
just
with
to
it and
play
have
around
fun.
with
And I mean, different sensations are part of what makes it interesting. So, yeah, it's as easy as we showed you to make those adjustments.
Yeah.
So,
So, Vacuglide from Autoblow.
the Vacuglide, if you do have questions, ask them in the comments. Yeah, we will do what we can to let you know what we know.
Ciao.
Ciao.